Welcome back to your Valley Sports Plug Roundtable. It is Wednesday, January 24th, 2024. I'm Chris Patrick, joined as always by my man, Mr. Michael Benjamin. How you doing tonight, bro?
Chris, I ain't got nothing to prove, man. You already know me. I'm a max player kind of guy. What's going on, dude? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm glad you made it. I know those roads were icy. It was a little uncertain there for a second. We tried to send the team to pick you up, but we're going to do this from our houses, so no worries there. But man, plenty to talk about. We got NFL Conference Championship weekend coming up. There's only 4 teams left. We got some NBA news stirring, the NBA early trade deadline moves that have been happening. Just a couple weeks left before we get to that deadline, and a lot of rumors swirling as well. A lot of people thinking the Suns might make a move, and there's some controversy around that. So we'll talk about that. And then, of course, this week has been a crazy week in the NBA. Despite all that news, there was a scoring barrage that went down on Monday, highlighted by Joel Embiid scoring 70 points, breaking a franchise record for the Philadelphia 76ers, as well as Kevin Durant having back-to-back 40-plus point games. So very exciting there locally as well as nationally. And there's a broader conversation, I think, to be had there about the current state of the NBA. But we'll get into all that. First, we got to introduce our special guest this evening. Joining us once again, I think he's going to become a regular on the show. You know him, you love him, MrT Jr.
What's up, gentlemen? How you guys doing?
Doing great, man. No Junior Tallman. I mean, you're MrT Jr., but we got Baby T, VSP Tallman, as you guys might know him. He's got to do some studying tonight. He's got a big day tomorrow, so we'll give him the pass, but he'll be back before you know it. But guys, why don't we just go ahead and get into it? I know this is supposed to be our round table, but it's looking more like a triangle right now. It's all good though. We're gonna have some fun. It means we'll just get to talk some more and keep it casual as always, as we do on these roundtables. Just shoot the shit, whatever comes to your mind, let's spit it out. Anyone listening back on the live stream, watching, or on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, we thank you so much for being here. Make sure you like and subscribe, leave a comment, and let us know what you want to see, what you think of what we're saying, and we're going to keep it pushing, man. Got this beautiful backdrop. You guys might have seen it in our last Heat Check podcast, episode 25. We're doing them live. Well, we're not doing them live. We're recording them. We're getting the video out there for you now. So
no, you guys should do them live. That'd be candid.
God, that's what we do these for, man, because it could get a little crazy. I mean, I guess we could do it live, but we sneak a few cuts in there, so maybe an intermission here or there.
VSP Tallman wouldn't feel as comfortable if we did it live. God. How about that?
Mr. T. You couldn't do that. You'd have to have some sort of kill switch with him or something.
Yeah, right.
He gets going. He's fun. He's a fun guy, man.
Absolutely. But Chris, I think it looks like you did add somebody up there. Who's that Funko Pop you got up in the corner?
Right
here. Who is that?
Because, I mean, we do Valley Sports, we talk about national sports, but we also got pop culture, right? So that is, I'm spacing on his name. He's a character from my favorite anime, Sword Art Online. Okay. Kirito is his name. So
there you go.
If you're into anime, check it out.
I got one. I got Ron Swanson right here.
Ron Swanson.
How about that?
There you go.
I have Conor McGregor on my desk at work.
I haven't brought in any trinkets into work yet because I started a little bit ago, and I'm like I want to wait till I'm in a permanent spot maybe before I start decorating the desk. But yeah, man, I'm good eye, man. I wasn't sure if you would notice that. I snuck him in there when I was setting up, but of course we got Randy. We got Connie Hawkins. He got snapped off at the ankles, but we hot glued him back together, so he's back and better than ever. Book, you can't tell, but Book had an arm surgery. He had lost his arm, had completely fallen off, but we got that glued back in there too. So we're doing good. The bobbleheads are doing good, man. But let's open up. Let's talk about the NFL, man. Plenty of things going on, and we will talk about the NFL Conference Championship. Well, that does include the NFC Conference Championship game, of course. But wanted to start with some late breaking news here that just broke in the last hour. And Matt, try not to cry. I know it's tough, but Jim Harbaugh has agreed to terms with the not San Diego Chargers, Los Angeles Chargers to
It's
be
hard,
their new
still to
head
say it.
coach. Yeah, I feel like everyone slips that every once in a while. It's hard with these teams while moving around. But yeah, undisclosed the terms of it yet, but it sounds like it's a 5-year deal, possibly what we say trip through what's the correct, not 6 digits, 9 digits?
9 figure is what
9
they said.
figures. There
Or
you go.
9 figure means it's going to be 100 million plus. And if you think about it, what I'm thinking they're going to do is make him the highest paid. And I think Belichick was making 25 million a year.
Wow.
So I think it's going to be somewhere around that 100 million at the 5 years. It's going to be about 32 a year. So I mean,
that's crazy. I mean, I feel like it wasn't that long ago where, who was it? John Gruden and the Raiders. He got like a 10-year, $100 million deal, and we thought that was crazy. But now the Harbaugh seeming to probably break through that ceiling. And we were talking about it a little bit right before we launched. I mean, guys, like when it comes to coaching in the NFL and coaching in college, there's really no comparison. You don't have to do any recruiting. You don't have as many rules and worrying about getting violations and investigated and suspended unless you really fuck up. But
you can.
You certainly can. I mean, ask Bill Belichick, and he's had a couple of gates that he's had to navigate through. Don't know if he ever got punished for any of those. I don't know. I can't remember. But Mr. T, while we got you, man, like what were your initial reactions to seeing that hiring?
Happy. I'm happy for him. I think he was. I think it's been almost 10 years at Michigan. My dog's barking. I apologize. It's been about 10 years at Michigan. He won us our national championship. He came back, did what we wanted him to do. I mean, for me, I think he's one of the all-time great Michigan coaches. I think the story is really cool as far as playing quarterback for Michigan, coaching them to a national championship, and then getting drafted and playing for the Chargers, and now coaching them, and who knows, maybe winning a Super Bowl. But bittersweet. I think bittersweet would be the best way to kind of coin it. Like, it sucks. I think we saw kind of an example of what Michigan could do when Harbaugh was suspended, and the offensive coordinator pretty much rallied the team to, I think, 3 wins it was or something like that. So it sucks, but excited to see what Michigan does as far as, getting somebody to fill that little bit of that void that's going to be there. It's going to suck, man, not seeing those khakis and those weird ass fucking one-liners, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's crazy. I wonder how much fallout that's going to have for Michigan. I mean, when we saw, Saban retire, a lot of players decommitted from Alabama, started entering the transfer portal. I don't think it was a crazy amount, but that's going to have an impact on recruiting. I mean, those guys who wanted to go there and play for Jim Harbaugh now are looking at the prospect of playing for another coach. So I expect that'll probably happen with them too. But if nothing else, I have to believe that he built a culture there. I mean, he just got them a championship, first one, and they've won before, right? His first one in a long time.
First one in 30 years, around that. So they have won it, but yeah, it's been fucking long.
It's been a minute for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not nothing though, but that should be enough to carry him over and hold him down. Mike, you got a little bit of Michigan ties. You almost attended. What do you think of this hiring?
I feel like it was just kind of only a matter of time, just with the success that Jim Harbaugh had in the NFL with the San Francisco 49ers. And he's headed back to California, right? I mean, Inglewood's not that close to Santa Clara in the grand scheme of things, but he made the right decision for himself, I think, because the Los Angeles Chargers over the past 2 years for sure have not hit the mark for their talent base. And they got one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL in Justin Herbert. So hopefully he's going to be able to work his magic. I would be okay if they had success because they're an AFC team. It doesn't matter to me, right? They're not in our division. If he were to go back to the San Francisco 49ers, then I would have had some more issues on that kind of stuff. But I remember, I think the last roundtable we did when we were talking about the possibilities and, the Black Monday stuff happening, some guys leaving, openings that were coming up. I think specifically that was right after Belichick had announced that he was retiring as well. But your brother Matt said that he didn't think that Harbaugh was going to leave. And I was completely on the other end of that because what's going to happen with the sanctions if he stays around and sticks around at Michigan, right? Like, is he going to get another suspension? Is it going to be longer this time? Is he going to be out for the year? So he did what he had to do. He took Michigan to the mountaintop. So it was almost kind of like time to say your goodbyes and move on to greener pastures because it's literally greener pastures with the amount of money that he's going to make, man. Wild.
Yeah, and that the payday alone is enough to, I think, convince anyone to go. It's not like he was starving at Michigan, but This is just a whole nother level. And I mean, for all those reasons we said, I mean, you don't have to recruit. In a lot of ways, it's a lot easier. You're coaching men instead of boys. Not to say, 20-year-olds aren't men, but there's some growing pains and bigger roster for sure. I mean, they carry some like 100 players on a college roster versus the 53 man you get down to in the NFL. So all in all, I'm with you guys. Like, I'm not super surprised about this move either. The Chargers job is somewhat attractive. I mean, you got an opportunity, like you said, my great quarterback in Justin Herbert and some other pieces. I mean, it sounds like Eckler might not be back if I'm remembering correctly. Keenan Allen isn't getting any younger, but I'm sure there's going to be, just like in college, there's going to be players that want to go play with the Chargers and be coached by Harbaugh for sure. And that division, man, I mean, of course you got the Chiefs. They're on top of that division still, I think, even after this move, but they've not had an easy ride through the regular season. Looking pretty good now in the playoffs. I think Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs is just something else, a type of performance and consistency we haven't seen since probably a guy like Tom Brady, if we're being perfectly honest. But I don't know. I mean, when you look at the Raiders and the Broncos, the other two teams in that division, the Broncos are just an absolute dumpster fire right now. Who knows what the hell they're going to do? And the Raiders are just consistently bad. I don't think they've had a good team in my lifetime that I can remember. I mean, that's probably not true, but in the time I've been paying attention to football closely, they have not been very good. So plenty of reason for Chargers fans to be optimistic today, I'd say. But let's roll into this conference championship weekend talk. This last weekend, we saw the Baltimore Ravens beat the Houston Texans 34-10. So they'll advance to take on the Chiefs, who beat the Bills 27-24 in a heartbreaking loss for the Bills. Wide right once again. And if you know Buffalo Bills lore, you know how much they hate the phrase wide right. Mike, you and I were watching that game with VSP Tallman. He had a little bit of skin in the game cash-wise. And it's hard for me to feel too bad for the Bills because with the amount of time left, even if he makes that field goal, I am fully confident that the Chiefs would have marched right down and kicked the game-winning field goal anyway. Worst case, it goes to overtime and anything could happen. But we'll start there. I mean, who do you guys like in this matchup between the Ravens and Chiefs coming up on Sunday?
Jeez, that's tough. That's tough. I think it might be. I think this. For me, like, honestly, I know divisions, like, conferences suck. So, like, that bothers me. But this could be, like, a Super Bowl. Like, it honestly is that good. But if I had to pick, gun to my head pick, I'm probably fucking going with the Chiefs, dude, to be honest. Like, I get it. I get it. I think there's so much to, like, around Pat Mahomes' playoff. Like, that it just, him in the playoffs is a whole different animal. The way he just plays, rallies that team. I think Travis Kelce definitely steps up a little bit. I think he plays a lot better too when Taylor Swift's there. I dropped the Taylor Swift here. Sorry. I know you don't want it. I know
somebody had to do it.
Hey, it's in the title, the Swiftie Renaissance.
Yeah. But I think overall, man, that team is just they're just so fucking good in the playoffs. And it's just they just get hot. They get hot at the right time. I know that's the thing people say, you get lucky when you get hot. So I'm going to go Kansas City. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think it's going to be something similar to the Buffalo game we saw. But yeah, I'm going to ride with the Swifties, baby.
Ooh, so this one is really, really hard for me. Just with the way that Baltimore has been playing, you think about what Lamar did against the Texans, 16 of 22, 152 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air. And he also has 100 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Sounds like he's going to be probably the consensus MVP pick this year, right? I mean, he had a career high in passing yards, 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, closed in on 1,000 rushing yards as well. But their ground game, I just think, is lethal with Lamar at the helm. And it seems like they haven't really taken too much of a beat off of the path with Mark Andrews going down and Isaiah Likely really stepping his game up at the tight end position. I mean, he's been stellar. He's been a stud. And it seems like he can actually kind of get more jump balls than Mark Andrews had as Mark is starting to get a little bit younger. But as much as I say that, I think I have to go with Mr. T, man. Like, until the Chiefs prove us wrong, I can't pick against him. And it sucks, man, because I want to. I really, really want to in my heart of hearts, especially since this is only going to be Patrick Mahomes' second road playoff game ever,
I think so.
which is wild. But he's also played in every single AFC Championship game in his career that he's been a starter, and they just find a way. And guys continue to step up, right? Travis Kelce struggled throughout the season, has 2 touchdowns. Isaiah Pacheco steps in, almost has 100 yards and a touchdown. I know he's dealing with a little bit of a toe, but it sounds like it won't be an issue. And then Mahomes is just always magic, man. So until they prove me wrong, which it sounds like next year, I have to go with the Chiefs. And it pains me, Chris. It pains me, man.
I mean, honestly, if you're looking at it objectively, it's hard to disagree, right? When you look at everything Patrick Mahomes has been able to do, the resume he's built, and I mean, you kind of said it. He's only had 1 road playoff game. This will be his second. So technically, that makes him 1-0 in road playoff games. And it's funny. I was even listening to the guys on the radio talking about it today. It is kind of funny the way that quarterbacks get judged off the wins and losses because it's a whole team effort, right? There's 11 guys on each side of the ball, and the quarterback's just one of them. But Patrick Mahomes, I think, just the quarterback is able to elevate a team, and Patrick Mahomes is definitely one of those guys. I think when we look at this matchup a little more, like you're talking about 2 future Hall of Fame head coaches in John Harbaugh and Andy Reid. So the coaching alone, I think, is going to make this a good one. I think that's interesting, that CBS Sports article you brought up there. What were they predicting? The Ravens just absolutely blowing out the Chiefs. Did I see that right? 49 to 10?
Said? No shot.
The 2024 AFC Championship game picks from experts on 48-19 roll. I think I'd have to read it a little bit more. I think that's just from the total amounts people have been picking, and they've got 48 out of.
Like they're experts. Like I see.
Yeah. I don't think they're saying that the Ravens are going to blast them out the
Okay.
water like that. No.
I was going to say that would be insane. That would have to be an extreme collapse by the Chiefs. But even more, like I said, diving into it, you talk about Andrews and the impact he had for the Ravens. It sounds like they're going to be getting him back for this game. So to add him into the mix, I think does kind of give the Ravens not to say they give it a bit more of a fighting chance, because I think Lamar Jackson already does that just by himself. I was not fully, I guess, maybe aware or willing to accept just how good Lamar Jackson is. What he's able to do with his legs is just incredible, unstoppable. I mean, he's 6'2", 6'3", and fast as fuck, man. He can just zip right up the middle and bust a 40-yard run out on you like it's nobody's business. And he's not one of these guys like Josh Allen who's doing a slide or a fake slide. Like, he's going to try and bulldoze you over when he's rolling down the field. And I mean, that is a bit scary. I mean, we kind of saw what happened with Robert Griffin and his career when the at the time Redskins were rolling him out there, having all those quarterback options, having him scramble. And it kind of shortened his career, in my opinion. But let's be honest, Lamar Jackson isn't RG3, completely different players. As it goes towards this game, though, I think I'm with you guys. I always give the Chiefs a fighting chance, especially this time of year. And experience is worth something at the end of the day. These guys have been there. They know what to do. They know how to do it, and can't ever count them out. But I think the Ravens are hungry. So this, honestly, I expect it to be the game of the week. And it's crazy because it's the early game. It's going to kick off at 1 p.m. Sunday, Arizona time. And I'm going to be watching. That's for sure. But the afternoon game, I guess that's already in the afternoon. But the late game, I guess you could call it, is going to be the San Francisco 49ers, not the Giants, taking on the Detroit Lions, the darling of the NFL. I guess you could call them a Cinderella story, even though they're a 3 seed. And I mean, I want to dive into that, but I got to ask you guys just to react to a signing they made earlier this week to their practice squad. I was giving him a little bit of shit last week, but one Zach Ertz is now on the roster for the Lions. Do you think that makes any difference, Tallman?
I mean, good for him. I mean, I think I like Zach Ertz. I think he's cool. I know that his wife's from, I think she's from Tempe or went to Tempe or something like that. So I think he could be a great like mentor for Laporta. I think that's a cool thing. Maybe you can teach him a couple. But I think as far as him being like super impactful and being like the Zach Ertz on the Eagles during their Super Bowl stuff and all that, I don't think you're gonna see that. I think he might be a little not out of shape, but to get up to NFL speed, like it's tough. So I think they'll utilize him. They'll implement him into the game plan somehow to where he's getting a few looks or at least a couple of targets. But I'm happy for him. I think that's cool because I honestly don't think he's gonna play after this. I think this is it. I think this will be his calling, last curtain call. So good for him. I hope they go far. I mean, I like Detroit. So, but yeah, good.
I was going to say, as far as Detroit, yeah, it's the Cinderella story, right? It's a franchise that has been in the dumps for a number of decades right now. The only franchise that ever went winless in a season as well. I love NFL fans because this is kind of taking a little bit of a turn here, guys. But, it seems like everybody can go against the Cowboys. And I was seeing things that basically people were saying, man, we lived in a lifetime where the Lions went 0-16 and went to a conference championship before the Dallas Cowboys ever went back to one from the 90s. Isn't life grand? But hey, it's a Cinderella story. I mean, they're running into a real tough matchup with the 49ers, having to go on the road as well. But they have some great weapons, man. Like Jahmyr Gibbs is finally stepping up. We know David Montgomery has been their bell cow back all season long. Amon-Ra St. Brown is continuing to cement himself as an all-pro player on a continuous every single season. Just count on it, man. He might be my keeper next year, Chris. Just don't tell anybody else.
I've heard you say this about 5 players.
But hey, to go back to what the other thing that we were talking about is, one guy I'm definitely not keeping is Zach Ertz. I do hope that he gets in there and maybe makes a catch or two. Give him another opportunity to make another run. But I'm with Matt. This is the last hurrah for him because I don't know what other teams really have a place for what he can do. Just unfortunately with his health issues that he's had to end his career. So good for him. And I am rooting for the Lions in this one, obviously. We don't want the Niners to do shit.
No, absolutely not. And not just for that reason alone, but I think I give the Lions a bit of a chance in this game. Like you were naming all those pieces they have, Gibbs, St. Brown, even Jared Goff has stepped up and been pretty solid. It's crazy that he was able to go through his former team, the Rams, get that win. Then they beat Tampa Bay in a shootout, but got an 8-point win. That was real good. And the 49ers, man, they barely squeaked by Green Bay. They were losing that one late. Christian McCaffrey was banged up, rubbing his knee, massaging his knee, having the trainers rub it, using the massage gun on it. So he's certainly not 100%. Brock Purdy is starting to show cracks in his armor. Love the guy as much as I can love a 49ers player. Deebo Samuel went out in that last game, so who knows what his health is going to be like. George Kittle is probably one of the most inconsistent tight ends in the league, whether that's his fault or not. But the Detroit defense is no slouch, and they got a great coach in Dan Campbell. I really like the job he's done with this team. So don't count the Lions out just yet. I mean, I know the script has been leaked as people are memeing about that it's going to be a Ravens-Niners Super Bowl. Have you seen that? Like the logo
from the logo colors? Yeah.
People are wild, dude.
They'll find anything, man. You gotta read between the lines. Everything's scripted if you really think about it.
Oh, yeah, those are the dudes that think Earth's flat.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Wait, the Earth's not flat?
Yeah, shut the fuck up. But to tack on before we move on, as far as the Lions defense, I saw a crazy stat line, so I just pulled it up. As far as Ayton Hutchinson's last 4 games, fucking bonkers. He's had over the last 4 games 8 sacks, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 20 combined tackles. So, I mean, as far as us maybe seeing a little bit of that, I think it's this little infatuation everybody has with fucking Brock Purdy. It drives me fucking nuts. I get it. Great quarterback. Like, I think he's a very, like, I know a lot of people are like, well, you can't just plug anybody in and do it. But, like, I honestly don't think he's, like, as great as everybody. I think once he gets a little bit of, a little Ayton Hutchinson in his fucking face, it might be a different Brock Purdy, man. And like you said, Christian McCaffrey is rubbing his knee and stuff. So, like, that's his bailout. Like, that's literally Brock Purdy's, like, best friend, wife, girlfriend. That's everything to him on the football field is Christian McCaffrey being able to do those little dump outs to where he's, because I think that's how he got all these fucking yards, dude. Like, I'm curious to see what Christian McCaffrey's yards are receiving. It's like watching Tom Brady at the end with the Buccaneers, and they had what's his name at running back? Leonard Fournette. That dude
Fournette,
literally
yeah.
killed me in fucking fantasy because he had like 11 catches for fucking 60 yards on a PPR league. So I honestly think a lot of Brock Purdy's success, I think he's talented. You have to be talented, obviously, to play in the NFL. But I also think there's a reason why he was fucking drafted last. Didn't play at a great college. And I think you're going to, I don't know. I'm curious to see. I think the Lions defense is going to fuck him up. I hope they do. I really do.
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't disagree at all. Like I was saying, he started to show some cracks. He had that horrible game on Christmas against the Ravens where he threw, I think, 4 interceptions. Didn't look great in this game against Green Bay. I mean, you're absolutely right. You take him out of the 49ers with those weapons and you put him on a Washington team or shit. I'm blanking on another good example at the moment, but you put him on a team with less weapons and a growing team. And I think he's just, you know, a good quarterback for sure, but I wouldn't put him up there with a lot of the quarterbacks remaining. He's not a Lamar Jackson. He's not a Patrick Mahomes by any means.
Well, and I think to kind of go back to what Matt was talking about with Christian McCaffrey being that safety blanket, I think that is the same with Debo. And right now he's questionable, right? I mean, what was it saying? Matt Barrows of The Athletic, he said he was a non-participant at Wednesday's walkthrough, but he was seen working on the side, doing some full speed sprints during a portion of the session that was open to the media. So I think if he's hampered in any kind of way, because the way that they work him through gadgets, right? They get him on end arounds, they get him into those shallow crosses. Same way it can kind of work into dump offs, right? It's the safety blanket. And if he's not 100%, man, you might get a little bit you might get a little bit more tough action coming at you. But man, Ayton Hutchinson, Matt, isn't it crazy? Like over years and years and years of the way that people and the experts talk about the NFL football, they say you got to work on the trenches, right? If you're good on the trenches, everything seems to kind of follow suit. And for Ayton Hutchinson to make such a huge impact in just his second year on the defensive line, it's like really changed a lot for the Detroit Lions, hasn't it, man?
I think his success, and especially like the success of that defense, epitomizes when they say defenses win championships. Like if you have a good defense that can keep you in the game, keep the other team to maybe 10, 14 points, like you're going to be in the game. If they can get the ball into your offense's hands, which they do pretty regularly, I think Detroit's in top 10 as far as it's cool. It's one of those great stories. You have the hometown Michigan kid, born in Michigan, went to high school in Michigan, went to college in Michigan. Now he's fucking bringing Detroit back. Like he is literally, for me, and I know it's going to be crazy because he is NFL's LeBron James as far as the story. Like he has that potential to be that same, like if he does that, dude, he is literally bringing the championship back. He is such a vital part of that fucking team. You have the Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. whatever, and then fucking Ayton Hutchinson. Like that's for me, those dudes, I'd be like, fuck, that's literally their team. So I think he has that potential to be, and that's the story. Like I don't think they're talking about it a whole lot. I think the NFL's caught up in fucking Kelce ripping his shirt off, carrying little girls to meet Taylor Swift and stuff, which really cool. Like that's fucking, I loved seeing that because Kelsey's one of us. But man, I just wish they would talk about that more because it's such a sick story to see this homebred kid go to his hometown college, bring us back to relevance. Like honestly, he was a huge part of us being where we're at as far as Michigan, and then now, with Detroit. So it's cool, man. I hope they talk about it, and I hope they fucking win. But I also want to hear Lamar Jackson speak, so I hope Baltimore wins. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like Lamar's fucking dope, dude. That dude is so cool because he is so against, like when I was growing up playing sports, like I played quarterback and stuff. My dad always said like you couldn't talk like that. Like you can't be like that. Like you have to be articulate and fucking enunciate stuff. And then you have dudes like Lamar Jackson coming and fucking lighting the league up and stuff. And he's talking like a kid from Maryland. Like he sounds like he's from Baltimore. So man, I don't know. It's going to be so fucking fun. I'm so sad to see the NFL slowly ending now though. So we'll see.
So speaking like that just reminded me, have you guys ever seen that video of that kid from I don't know if it's Baltimore or just Maryland, but he's like Aaron or something.
Yeah. It's so good. It's so good. It's great because he sits there and he like hears himself, and you hear the kid. He goes, "Wait." He goes, "We fucking sound like that."
Yeah. It's so funny. Like it just takes that like moment of realization. But no, I can always get behind a good story, man. And like that would be really cool to see, to be honest with you guys. Like either way, I mean okay, so as we're I think we did our predictions on the last round table. Honestly, not too far off. Mike, you had the Cowboys, but it's fine. It's fine. I think a lot of people are seeing the writing on the wall. They're predicting Ravens Niners, but whether it's Raven, I mean, I don't know, guys. Like as it stands, like I just want to ask you, like, I mean, I know we were kind of making our predictions. You guys said Chiefs. Sounds like some of you guys think the 49ers might pull it out, but who do you like if of who's left, who do you like to take it all right now?
Oh, that's another hard one, man. Because I think all four of these teams, obviously they're there for a reason, but they all bring different aspects to the table. And it's like when any certain day when you come into a matchup, it's like if it's clicking, these guys can be unstoppable. I think once again, I just got to go with what I said, and I think I have to double down on it. I have to go with the Chiefs until they prove me wrong. At the end of the day, are they the better football team than probably the Niners or the Ravens? Probably not, but they've had the most success in the playoffs. They have a bunch of guys who have been there, done that, and they know how to fight through adversity, and they figure out ways. Like you said too, Chris, if Buffalo hits that kick, there's no way in hell that Patrick Mahomes doesn't take them down and win the game at the end anyways. And Tallman would have been crying to the bank because that huge bet that he put would have hit. So
did he have Bills?
He did the, what is it? Touchdown and field goal for each team in each half.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So if Detroit would have hit that kick and then Kansas City would have got it back and went down and hit another kick, it would have hit.
Oh shit.
And we're sitting there, and as the Bills are lining up the kick, your brother is sweating. He is sweating. And Mike turns to him and he goes, "Tallman, he's gonna hit this kick, and then the Chiefs are gonna go down and kick their kick. You got this. It's money in the bank."
Oh no.
Famous last words.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
it was a matter of seconds, dude. I kid you not, like less than 30 seconds between when Mike said that and the kick went wide right, and we were stunned, man. And it was funny because there was some probably like 12-year-old kid in the booth by us wearing a Patrick Mahomes jersey doing the gritty or some shit. I hate to see young kids in Arizona wearing other markets jerseys, but
dude, as somebody that has a kid who's 9 years old that like looks up to kids and has like a fucking Kyler Murray fucking poster in his room, like we watched that quarterback show. Like I fuck with Pat Mahomes. I think Pat Mahomes is I think he teaches a lot of like that. When you're on the field, dude, you're on the field to fucking be a maniac. Like you're not who you are with your kids and your wife off the field. Like you go out that locker room and you touch that fucking grass. That's what I'm trying to teach him. You're a different person. When you step off that field, you go be nice and stuff. But like, I don't know. Fuck it.
No, I think that's a great point because like a lot of people, I think, lose sight of it. Like when these guys step onto the field, they're going to work. That's their job. Like they don't have a 9 to 5. They're not sitting in an office. They're training year round and throughout the week, studying film. Like a lot of people don't even understand the behind the scenes. They think they just show up to a couple of hours of practice and then play the game on Sunday when that couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, I know you always see stories of, well, maybe that's what Manziel's doing, but you see the guys who do that, you see where they end up. They're on the couch. They're living in Scottsdale. They get really good at golf. Yeah, it's what happens. But no, Mahomes is definitely one of those rare breeds. Kind of, again, I hate to keep making the comparison, but kind of like Tom Brady, who was 100% locked in all business when he was on the field and not always the nicest guy either. Mike, it looked like you had something to say there.
Oh, no, I was going to say, I feel like we hit the Swiftie quota as well already because Matt pulled it out twice. We talked about Patrick Mahomes. So I think we did it, Chris.
All right.
We should be proud.
I guess I have one more. Just one last. That doesn't make sense. But one more to add to it. Yeah, it works out. You know what I mean. But Matt, when you were talking about that, it reminded me of this picture I saw earlier in the week where it was I'm blanking on his name. Kelce, the
Jason Kelce.
Jason Kelce, yes, thank you. It was Jason Kelce and Taylor Swift, and the caption was "America's sweetheart and Taylor Swift."
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, man.
Probably
When
pretty
like
good.
when I saw that, I was dying. I was like, this guy he's fucking awesome. Like when I saw the video of him like climb out the booth, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I was like, he's like, what are you gonna say? It's Jason Kelce. Like I saw him talking to like a security guard or something. I was like, yeah, that guy. What you gonna fucking tell him? He's a drunk fucking offensive center. He'll kill you.
Yeah, I remember seeing a video earlier in the season where after a game, he and someone else, a teammate, were like walking back to the locker room with their helmets, and these two dudes in the stand were like, "Jason, you want a beer? You want a beer?" And he's like, "Oh, what you got? What you got?" And he literally like grabbed the Coors Light or whatever, cracked it, and started drinking it on his way to the locker room. Like, he is genuinely one of us. It's hard to not like Jason Kelce. I mean, now that he's retired, really, I mean, how could you hate a center to start with?
Is he officially retired? Like, is that? It's real.
Did he announce it though, or was it just the leak from Sheffield where people were like, "Oh, thanks, man. You didn't even give him a chance to say goodbye."
I thought I saw on his podcast that he was talking about it. He was
I
like getting a little teary eyed, a little misty eyed.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I like both the Kelces. Like, honestly, I think their story is super cool. I think them going to Cincinnati, I get it. I think lately everybody's just sick of the fucking Taylor Swift thing, so I think they get sucked into that, which obviously happens. She's like a fucking black hole succubus of men. But I'm kidding.
Can you imagine the next album though? Ooh.
Oh, dude, they're gonna get married. What do you mean? There's gonna be a little baby Travis Kelce Swiftie.
Oh my lord!
But
I mean,
like
that makes sense. They're both in their mid-30s, so.
Yeah.
Dude, the best was them talking about their dad, because their dad doesn't get a lot of spotlight. Like, I saw a clip of them on their podcast talking about their dad. It was hilarious. It's like, yeah.
Oh, was that the one where he was like, because their last name was originally like Kels, I think, right? And like, I don't know if that's true. Like, that's how it's actually like traditionally pronounced, is just Kels or something like that. But then they were like, "Dad, why did you like switch it to Kelce?" And he's like, "Well, that's just how people kept saying it, and I didn't feel like correcting them." So like, slowly over time, I don't know how true that is, but I saw that clip.
No, they're a cool family, man. They love their parents. They're good guys. Like, I've never heard anything bad about them. It's like the same thing with people.
Not controversial, really.
Well, yeah, and it's like when people talk shit about like LeBron James, like, "Oh, he's a blah blah blah." It's like, dude, that guy is like the greatest fucking dad I've ever seen, and he's never had any sort of like real like Kobe Bryant controversy. Like, he's just been.
I just slide into a few DMs here and there, but if that's the worst thing you're doing, then I mean,
mean, dude, if I was LeBron James, I'd be doing it too.
He's like, Bronny got a hold of my phone. It wasn't even me. Yeah, no, I agree though. Like, it's hard to not like those guys. I will admit I don't like Travis very much, but I think a lot of that is just like
because he's so damn good.
He's very good. He's very good.
Don't like him, Chris. You've always been that guy, man. It's okay. It's okay.
He's a good tight end, man. He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's crazy that him and Gronk are like the same age, but he's like right up there with him as like Antonio Gonzalez. I'd even put him in that air. Antonio Gates. I mean, he is one of the greatest tight ends that we've ever seen. Ditka. No, I'm just kidding. But
Shannon Sharp.
There you go. How many tight ends can we name? Go. But
Rob Hausler. You like that one? That was a good one.
That was a
deep
good
pool,
one.
right?
Yeah, he went to the depths for that.
Oh man, but we're gonna have plenty to talk about once this weekend shakes out, and probably do, I don't know if a Super Bowl preview or some type of stream talk about it. I don't see why not. Let's fucking do it. But one last NFL related topic I wanted to get your guys' opinion on. I don't know if you've been hearing the rumblings, but it sounds like one Mr. Clifford Kingsbury will be making his way back into the league. Hard to say what team that'll be through. He has interviewed with the Bears. Sounds like he's going to interview with the Eagles and the Steelers as well. And if I recall correctly, possibly the Raiders.
Yep.
For the role of offensive coordinator, however.
The Raiders.
Dude, could you imagine how much fucking pussy that dude would slay in Las Vegas?
Oh, God.
That's such a good-looking motherfucker. He looks like he's hammered. Like, dude is the best. Every like season or every game, like him on the sidelines, Alexis would be like, he's looking okay like this week. Like, he looks a lot better than he did last week. And I'd be like, what do you mean? Like, she's like, he just always looks like really disheveled and like just fucking. And I looked at him, I was like, yeah, he looks fucked up.
Because he's
Mike, What
He's
did I always
probably
say
in-
he looked like?
Like what?
What did I always say Cliff looked like on the sidelines?
Oh, a scared pussy. Yeah. But that's because he's out in Cambodia doing blow and like banging hookers and doing crazy shit like that, right? Like the man is enjoying his life to the way that his discretion, I guess. But I'm glad you brought it up, Chris. I'm kind of at the point where I hope he gets a job, man. I honestly hope he gets a job to see if he can be any kind of success at the thing that he probably should have been instead of a head coach, right? Just focus on that side of the football, running the offense, and not trying to do too many things all at once. I mean, in his 1 year with USC, obviously, it's kind of skewed based off of having probably the best quarterback in college football and Caleb Williams there. But USC did average 42 points. I think we had talked about it. Like, it wasn't the offensive side of the football that let USC down. They started 6-0. They finished 2-5 because of their defense. Their defense was horrible. So I'm kind of okay. Like, give him a shot. Go to Las Vegas, see if it works. You know what, Chris, though? I really hopes he goes to the Steelers. So then you can still have him stuck over you like a rain cloud. And then we just get to continue to bring it up to you and say, hey, buddy, how's things hanging over there in Pittsburgh for you?
You know, Mike, I might have to make the full conversion and become a Cardinals fan full time if that happens. I don't know. I'm kind of with you though. I do want to see him get a job. I want to see what he's made of. I mean, it's hard though, because like at times, sure, the offense in Arizona with him here seemed to be humming. We had was it a 10-0 start that one season? We're rolling pretty good. And then things just fell apart. And I think a lot of that had to do with him just being overwhelmed, trying to play OC and head coach at the same time. So if he just has to worry about one side of the ball, that's, I think, probably a lot of stress off his plate. Maybe he won't look so scared on the sideline. But I mean, Matt, you're right. If he goes to Las Vegas, a lot of times you worry about the players having too much of a fun time out. If you have to worry about your coach being in the casinos and the strip clubs and whatnot, that could be a whole nother factor. Pittsburgh might be a safe city for him to not get in too much trouble.
Pittsburgh's boring enough for him, but I want to see him. I want to see him go somewhere. I think he's a great football mind. I just don't think he's a good fucking head coach. I think the dude, when he just tries to do too much, he just gets stretched too thin. But like you said, we did start great. Like we had some really good times, like really good times. It was like almost one of those like abusive relationship where like you think about it, but you like during it, you kind of know, like you're kind of like I probably shouldn't be in this relationship, but you only focus on like the really good stuff. That's like what it was. But I think his this year at USC, obviously I think they went 7-5 or something like that. So not a spectacular year as far as USC standards go, but I don't know. I think Vegas would be good. I think the best fit, it would be really cool to see him in Pittsburgh, not just because of, I think he's, I don't know. I'm going to go Pittsburgh. Let's say he goes to Pittsburgh. I don't think the Bears are taking him. I think the Bears already hired somebody, or there was talks of him getting somebody hired. So I thought it was going to be the Bears originally because of Caleb Williams, him coaching him at USC, give him that familiar face. But I mean, who knows, man? The coaching carousel is so weird as far as it goes. And we saw this year with all the retirings from people, Pete Carroll out of nowhere. So we'll see. I want to see Cliff somewhere though. I think he's ready. I think he's coming out of the hookers and blow and all the drinks and everything. He's coming off the island. But man, the pictures of him, that island he was at, I was like, shit, I'd quit my job and go out there too.
Yeah.
So, no. But we'll see. I think he'll do good. I think if he's given the right tools and can figure out how to change his game plan in the middle of a season when it's not just the same fucking. I think if he doesn't have Rondale Moore, he'll be good. Because if he has Rondale Moore, he just dump passes it to him every fucking play. It drives me nuts. So we'll see.
Yeah, and if he does end up with the Steelers, I'll be interested to see what he can do with Kenny Pickett. They got some good receivers. I really like George Pickens. Pat Fryermuth, of course, another good tight end. He's not up there with the other guys we were naming off in that list that we had going there. And Najee Harris, of course, he's been up and down. I don't want to call him a bust just yet, but I think a better situation for him than it could be elsewise. But let's go ahead, keep things pushing. We were going to talk about the NBA, and it's been a week. It's been a month. And we always say, not just us, everyone says the season really starts after Christmas. And here we are almost exactly 1 month since Christmas. And things are starting to get rolling. The Suns are on a 6-game win streak. Mike, is that right? 7 games?
6 games, going for 7 tonight. Kind of off to a slow start, though. We're down 17-9 against the Mavericks.
Yeah, plenty of
Early,
time left.
early.
No Kyrie, but of course, the thorn in our side, Luka Doncic, is playing and healthy. So we'll see. It's funny because they were asking, I think, Kevin Durant about this yesterday, about the narrative and you can call it a rivalry between the Suns and the Mavericks. But when you really take a step back and look at it, the teams are completely different from what they were. I mean, it's pretty much just Devin Booker that's left from those playoff exits that we had. No Chris Paul, no Monty Williams, of course, no DeAndre Ayton, and we'll talk a little bit about him before we get out of here. But yeah, gonna be interested to see what happens in that game. But yeah, so far the trade deadline I think is February 8th, if I'm remembering correctly. So coming up in just a couple weeks here. But we've already seen some moves. The Indiana Pacers added Pascal Siakam from the Toronto Raptors. Just earlier this week, we saw Terry Rozier heading to the Miami Heat for Kyle Lowry. He was coming from the Hornets, I believe. And then the Knicks were the first, I think, to make a move in acquiring OG Anunoby. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And he's kind of elevated that Knicks team that already wasn't doing too bad there with Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. So some shakeups, some interesting moves. Mike, which one do you think is going to have the biggest impact for the respective team?
So at the end of the day, I still think it has to be Pascal Siakam, just because of, you're talking about a guy who is a borderline all-star for the past 3-4 seasons, ever since he definitely was a key contributor for that Toronto Raptors team that won the championship with Kawhi Leonard. And they've kind of gotten the short end of the stick right off the start with this trade because Tyrese Halliburton has been out. So they started 0-3 with him so far. So you see, you can't just look at the box scores and what's happened in the games. You have to think about overall grand scheme type of things. I think when Tyrese Halliburton comes back, Indiana will continue to kind of push their pace. They'll get out of the play-in area right now. They're in the 7th spot. I do like what Anunoby has done with the Knicks. A nice addition. Sometimes it's addition by subtraction, right? A lot of people question RJ Barrett and, his true skill set for being a 3rd overall pick, and he just never met up. We know New York has a lot of high expectations, but I think right now when I go down to it and we're looking at the end of the season, I think it's going to be Pascal that ends up having, the biggest impact at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, you add him, like you said, to Tyrese Halliburton, already a pretty good team there in Indiana, and a piece they needed. You can say in a lot of ways the Rozier-Lowry swap. I think Rozier is better than Kyle Lowry if I had money on it. But again, a team that was just in the finals last year. So how much of a shakeup did they really need to make? And then the Knicks and OG Anunoby, I think the Knicks are just going to nick, man. I don't expect them to be a crazy playoff team or anything. But what Jalen Brunson has been doing for that team is nothing short of spectacular. He's putting up numbers every single night. And you would think, or I would have thought, just a year ago that Julius Randle was the best player on that team. But honestly, it looks like it might be Brunson at this point. Mr. T, would you agree with that assessment that Siakam is the biggest move here?
I honestly, I'm probably going to steer away from that. I'm going to say it's the Terry trade. I think Miami is already pretty successful. I think they're missing that 1 or 2 couple of pieces as far as somebody that can kind of score or bring that type of scoring to it. I don't know, dude. The New York Knicks, I have a couple of friends that live in New York, so I hear about, them talking about him. Brunson has revitalized as far as like people's interest getting back into watching, because like Mike said, them New York fans, you do bad, you lose a lot of bandwagon fans there. So I think they're gonna do what Knicks do. I think they're just gonna be, like Chris said, nicking it. So but yeah, I think the Terry trade, I pulled it up because he's actually playing tonight. So he's actually already playing. He's got 12 minutes, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 5 points. So I think he's averaging right now about 20 plus points on the season. So I'm going to go with that. And I also think in the trade, they gave a first round. They gave a draft pick, if I'm correct.
I think you're right. A
So
first round, I think.
I think there was something tagged onto it. It was interesting too to see Kyle Lowry delete everything from social media right before. That's how I kind of caught wind of it. I was like, oh shit. I was like, I know Kyle Lowry, like looked it up and stuff. I was kind of surprised he's still playing. What is he, like 38, 37? So that's probably why they had to tack on that pick. But I think this is Miami's big swing to kind of be like, all right, we're gonna try this year. Like this is gonna be with Jimmy Butler, Bam. Like I think they're fun as far as games that are exciting to watch. I fucking love Jimmy Butler. I think he's a clown. So a super talented guy too. I liked him when he played for the Bulls. So I'm gonna say that one. I think it's gonna be interesting to see if Miami can kind of replicate and finish it. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, when you add a piece like Terry Rozier to a team that's already good and already been there, it only makes them better. And I haven't been high on Kyle Lowry as a good point guard in this league. Serviceable role player, sure, but is he the guy that you want leading the charge at the point guard position? Probably not. Terry Rozier is just going to elevate them even more. But guys, I expect some more moves to come and possibly some moves here locally. I will touch on the controversial rumor, but first, another rumor that's been swirling is that Grayson Allen might be a piece that the Suns look to move to acquire another player to add to Durant, Booker, and Beal in that order. Mike, do you think that the Suns should look to move Grayson Allen for the right piece, or has he made enough of a contribution so far where we need to keep him on this squad?
You know where I am at, Chris. So once again, I'll say it for the people. We riot if Grayson Allen is moved. This guy has just been too consistent. He's one of the best NBA three-point shooters right now in the league, just from stats. I mean, it backs it up. I mean, he set the franchise record twice this year with 8 3-pointers made in 2 games. So, and while we've been going through these tumultuous times, trying to figure out where guys need to fit, where they need to play, what lineups work the best, all Grayson Allen has done is ball and played his position and worked his way into this lineup to be a huge contributor. I don't know what big other pieces you can get back, because I think I'd be scared if you were to trade, say, a Grayson Allen to go get, I know some of the rumors that have been coming out are Royce O'Neal, or, looking for a bigger, maybe another backup like Nick Richards from Charlotte. I pray to God those Miles Bridges rumors aren't true either. But, if I'm thinking that Eric Gordon has to be kind of the primary 2 guard or 3, wherever you want to say Devin Booker sits at the end of the day, like I'm a little scared. I don't trust Eric Gordon enough for his consistency, and he is on the older side of 30. So he's had some good games, right? Don't get me wrong. Eric Gordon has filled it up, but it's like the Jay Crowder experience all over again, Chris. I mean, how many times have we seen him go 1 for 10? More often than not. And Grayson Allen really hasn't done that. So I just love everything that he's done for this team so far. And they're finally catching a rhythm, and he's just filling in right alongside the big 3 where he needs to be.
It's really funny how the attitude really shifted so quickly with a guy like Grayson Allen, where a lot of people were rolling their eyes when we got him. He has a pretty strong stigma in the league for being a bit of a dirty player. I think, I do understand a little bit of it. He's playing hard, maybe some frustrations, and maybe doing a bit too much out there. But I haven't seen, from what I've seen this year, it seems like a more mature Grayson Allen. I don't see as much as that type of stuff anymore. And when you're scoring and actually contributing, and he's had to step into that starting role a lot this year with Booker and Beal being out at different times. I agree with you, Mike. We might have to riot if they trade Grayson Allen. I don't think it even matters who they get in return. You almost have to try and give up another piece, whether it's Little or Eubanks, or I don't even know who you could get rid of. I don't think Eubanks is in there because he's one of those guys on this 1-year prove-it deal. But it's tough because this we've talked about it, man. The Suns are kind of handcuffed a little bit with the moves they can make, being up against the salary cap, having blown out the luxury tax this season, and having very little movable contracts when it's all said and done. I wouldn't honestly be surprised if they say down pat and don't end up making any of these moves. But Matt, if you had an opinion, one way or the other, I want to let you speak on Grayson Allen real quick.
I think I was like the majority of Arizona fans when I heard Grayson Allen. Like when I read like the trade, and I was like, Grayson, I was like, God fucking damn it. I was like, why do we have Grayson Allen, man? I was like, what? It's like, what's he gonna do? Pull some Duke boy dumb shit? So, yeah, I was very, very skeptical. I honestly thought we were gonna like get rid of him, trade him. I did not think he was gonna really stick around, if I had to guess. But man, has he been fucking fun to watch. He's been a lot of fun. I watched him last week go ape shit. He balled out like a madman, had I think it was like 25, 26 points, made I don't know how many goddamn 3-pointers. And then the other night I watched Eric Gordon lay a fucking egg and have like 4 points, miss I don't know how many fucking 3-pointers. And then yeah, I think we let it sit. I think we finally got the big three. They're back. We're healthy. And we're seeing that. We're seeing what we can do with this foundation where we're winning 6. And this is what we wanted. This is what it was. This was I say we let it simmer. We ride it out. We let this team kind of become a really good cohesive group, which they're starting to. But I don't know who we get that can kind of match those numbers or match that production as far as stepping in to be that role player or to fit in when, that's been kind of the kryptonite for us was like our bench. Like the starting 5 was good, and then you hit the bench, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Like we're a little bad after like 6,
Right.
7. So, I want to see us. I want to keep the tripod. I want to keep the 3, and then just ride with what we got, man. I think it's a really good group. I think they all enjoy playing with each other. I'm with you guys, man. I think this is crazy that I'm going to say it, but if the Suns got rid of fucking Grayson Allen, I'd be a little pissed off. I'd be a little upset. I'm not gonna lie. He's been fun, dude. And he plays hard. He plays really fun. He plays like he's at fucking Duke. Like if I like literally like he still plays like a college kid. He plays like he loves the game. So yeah, I'd riot. I'd be upset. I like Grayson Allen.
Oh, the tides have turned. You love to see it, man.
It's a great point, though. I mean, if you do make a trade, you kind of throw another wrench in the chemistry they're starting to build, and that's what we've wanted this entire season, is for this team to start to gel and get that play time together. And because winning is fun, Kevin Durant hates losing. We've seen a lot of talk about his posture, Booker's demeanor, whatever it is. And so if you get rid of a guy like Grayson Allen, no matter who you bring in, that's just another guy that has to learn where his spot is on this team. I wouldn't hate to see Eric Gordon go. Wouldn't be sad at all. We wouldn't riot if Eric Gordon ends up off this team. But Mike, I glad you kind of teased it there. That's the big rumor that's come out the last couple of days, is the Suns being linked to Miles Bridges. And talk about rioting for very different reasons. There's a lot of upset Suns fans. I mean, better than anyone, having him on your fantasy team, that he has been putting up numbers. He can score, plays decent defense, but comes with a lot of controversy around him. For those of you who might not know, I think it was this last offseason, he was arrested, I think, on domestic violence charges and pled no contest, had some probation, and then I think even a violation. He didn't show up for his court date or something like that. So maybe as far as character goes, not the most savory player. And we got rid of Jason Kidd for similar reasons. Do you think the Suns would make a move to bring a guy like that over?
I mean, it's hard to say. Obviously, Matt Ishbia is still so new. I don't think that he would be that kind of a guy who would just be like, he reads the room, right? Like, he's not just, oh, you're good at basketball, we're going to do anything we can, even though it seems like that sometimes with the amount of money that he spends. But he's worked with James Jones to create a team and try to fit puzzle pieces together. Guys, at the end of the day, I don't think there's much we have to say about this. We understand that these kind of situations are unacceptable as men, right? It's not okay, and it would just be an unnecessary headache at the end of the day, just to get a guy who can maybe average 15 points and 7 boards for you. Like, bigger than basketball at the end of the day right now. And especially with him not having things solved and, what's going to happen. Probably not going to get any jail time or anything like that, but the unnecessary headaches, the extra, curricular kind of stuff, the flying rumors, more pieces being written about your team, putting those kind of questions out there to thinking are the Suns front office really doing these things for the right reasons? That's the last thing that they need to deal with after all of the bullshit that happened with Robert Sarver, right? You got to fly. It's almost like you got to fly on the straight and narrow for a good amount of years to get that stench away from your nose. So you don't want to get anywhere near it. So it would not be okay, Chris, at the end of the day, Chris and Matt. It would not be okay if the Phoenix Suns made a move for Miles Bridges.
I agree with everything you said there, man. Like, I do not want to see him in a Suns uniform. I don't care who they give up. I don't care if they give up a vending machine to get Miles Bridges. I don't want him on this team. Kevin Durant, for all his criticisms, pretty high character guy, very uncontroversial. Devin Booker, super high character guy. He's always doing stuff with the fans, giving back to the community, keeping a low profile, not getting into any trouble, even despite having dated a Kardashian for a little while. Excuse me, a Jenner, whatever. It's all the same. But if that's your biggest controversy, that's much less than domestic violence charges. And I agree, 100% unacceptable. Not a guy I want anywhere near my franchise, no matter how good he is at basketball. And I imagine, Matt, I don't even have to ask. You probably would agree with us here, right?
Nah, dude, we should trade for him.
Yes,
Nah,
He's got great size, 3D.
He is a walking bucket.
I just ordered his fucking jersey. People like this, man, it fucking makes me so goddamn mad that like people like that get paid millions of dollars and have this great platform to like maybe do some semi good shit. My dog's freaking out again. But I don't care how fucking good you are at anything. I really don't. When it comes to certain things, like I understand some things in your personal life shouldn't trickle over. Like you get a DUI and you're not trying to fight, like it's your own personal thing and you're not like doing crazy shit. I understand there's repercussions, but you shouldn't lose your fucking job. You beat your fucking girlfriend and have to get a 10-year protective order placed against you. Yeah, dude, you did something. So I think it's a cancer, man. I think guys like that can't get out of their own way. They start to pull people in. I know I said it with Taylor Swift being a succubus. Guys like Bridges pulls dudes in and I don't know, man. I couldn't see that. I hope Ishbia doesn't do that. I hope like you said, he's a smart guy, man. I think he can read a room. He can kind of see. It's not like he doesn't understand technology in all these little forums and stuff where people are talking. Like he probably has people looking at these things that see these and see what the fans are saying and stuff. So like I think it's one of those things. And if you Google Miles, it's so many different trade rumors. So I think it's one of those things where you just got to write the story and kind of put it out there, get some feelers, get some clicks. But yeah, man, I just can't get behind that, dude. That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Well, and I think it says a lot that the Hornets are even trying to unload him, because when you're a young rebuilding team, I mean, Miles Bridges is 25, you got LaMelo Ball there, you're trying to build something, and the fact that they're willing to get rid of him, I think says a lot. But it makes me a little bit mad when we're looking at the hypocrisy of the league, because not even a direct or close comparison, but when you look at a guy like Myers Leonard, obviously not probably the caliber of player as Miles Bridges, but he said an anti-Semitic slur on a live stream. Didn't even know what the word meant. It's just a gamer word that he heard growing up. Not an excuse. You can't be that ignorant. But at the same time, he's out of the league, man. He's not playing on any team right now. And again, Myers Leonard is not Miles Bridges. But the fact that teams are still willing to take players that have these types of accusations and things going on, it's crazy. I mean, look at the NFL. Look at what happened with Ray Rice. I mean, pretty much ended his career, but I'm pretty sure he got another chance after he was on video punching his wife in the face. So it's just crazy to me. I think that's got to be a reason why the Hornets are moving off of him, and whatever team does end up trading for him is going to have a lot to deal with in the public eye and the perception of it all. But hopefully we don't have to worry about that. I'd hate to be back on a live stream talking about Miles Bridges, but guys, we got a few more NBA related topics before we get out of here, so Mike can get some dinner in him. This last couple weeks, man, has been some high scoring performances for individuals in the NBA. We saw Booker last week put up 52 points in a game. Like I said early on, Kevin Durant back-to-back 40-plus point games, had 40 on Sunday, 43 on Monday. But the big story in the league, the two big stories, I guess, were Joel Embiid hitting 70 and Karl Anthony Towns hitting 62 in a loss to the Hornets, hilariously enough. But, God, is Joel Embiid going to win MVP again?
I think that just seems to be the route of the NBA game nowadays, Chris. It's like, if you get one, you're getting them back to back, but you're never getting a third, right? That's the one thing that the voters don't like to do. Whereas last year, Nikola Jokic probably should have got his third. You just look at this game. Obviously, they're playing the San Antonio Spurs, who are an absolutely real rebuilding franchise, struggling. They do have Victor Wembanyama. We'll see how his career pans out. He's been doing some real nice things to start. But it's not turning into wins. But yeah, franchise record, shot 50%. Embiid's always been known for a guy who gets to the free throw line. I mean, he got 21 points from the free throw line as well. But then he also added 18 rebounds. So he does it all, man. It's incredible to see him. He trusted the process, and the fruits of his labor are coming to him in single accolades. Unfortunately, it hasn't been transitioning for the team completely. He's had some heartbreaking losses in the playoffs, but awesome, man. I love seeing big guys go and get it, because you know that it's a guard dominated league at the end of the day. So there are a few who can really get it done, but I think my favorite one that you were saying too, Chris, is the Karl Anthony Towns situation, where he basically got called out by his coach after the game for stat padding, and they lost that game. They were up by 18 points.
I don't think he even played the end of the game, right? He finished the game on the bench.
And his coach is giving him shit after he sets a franchise record for most points in a game. But yeah, those ones always get asterisks, because if you don't pull the win out and you didn't do what you needed to do to get your team that W, becomes the saddest 62-point game ever, man. Yeah,
I mean, honestly, those games are certainly not as impressive. I mean, I think Devin Booker had his 70-point game himself, and that came in a loss to the Celtics. So I don't think a lot of us really look back on that with fond memories. That was a really bad Suns team too, to boot. It's funny though, Joel Embiid, I don't think had any 3-pointers to get his 70. He had like 21 free throws.
I think he had one. He only had one. Yeah.
Whereas Karl Anthony Towns in his 62, he had 10 3-pointers that he made.
Sheesh.
So, I mean, that's a way to shoot, big man. It is crazy that these big guys are able to stretch the floor like that. Kevin Durant's no shorty either at 6'10", 6'11", whatever he's officially listed at these days. But Matt, to rope you in here, what would you say is more impressive, maybe Valley biases aside? Is it Embiid putting up 70 against a pretty bad Spurs team, or Booker scoring 52 against the Pelicans, who are a playoff team if the season finished today?
I mean, putting fandom aside, I think seeing what was it? Did you say 20 free throws? That was what he had?
21 made, I think. Yeah, out of 25.
21 out of 23.
Oh, there you go.
So a big man that can shoot from free throw. I think the consistency with Embiid, as far as him having done it, and man, I don't know though, dude. I enjoy so much watching Devin Booker that it's so hard. I know that it's, what was it, 52, and he didn't even play the fourth? He didn't finish?
Yeah, I think he only played 3 quarters.
No, he did come back in.
Didn't Kobe Bryant do that too?
He did come back in, but they didn't run too much action to him, and I think he only took 2 shots, and he didn't hit any of them.
Oh man, they should have let him pull the cat and start shooting 10 3-pointers from.
Dude, he could have gotten 70 again, maybe.
Oh, dude, I've always wondered why they don't let him do that. Man, probably Embiid. I think not shooting threes. He's got the, like, it reminds me of like the old school kind of, like, where you got to like work a little bit. Was it 50 points from the field then if he's only shooting 1 3 with 45, then 46? So he's getting down low. I'm sure. How many rebounds was it? I got to pull that up. So man, yeah, I'm gonna say Embiid, because it's so much more that he does too, and I think he is going to be the MVP. I think that's just kind of how it works. It's either him or Joker. So, but I think that's a little more impressive. I think they should have let Book just ball out. I think it would have been cool to see him do more than, I think he had 3 points is what it said. So, I think seeing the dude that's going to win MVP do it is pretty nice. Cats, it was interesting to see them kind of say that about him padding the points, but I don't know. I've seen crazier stuff happen. So, but
yeah, Karl Anthony Towns is a bit of a clown. I mean, I know Embiid's a memer and a jokester, but he seems to take it serious when he's on the court, whereas Cat doesn't always seem like he's the most serious guy even on the court. And it's funny because that night where you had a 70-point game, a 62-point game, and Durant putting up 43, Nikola Jokic put up 42 himself that night. And it kind of, goes under the radar. And that's kind of to be expected from him now to have over 30, 40 so points, depending, because he's like the main guy there. But I will just continue to emphasize it's really crazy what these big guys can do. In relation to this topic, while we get close to wrapping up here, I wanted to share a couple pictures with you guys and get your opinion on this, because I have a pretty strong opinion. So everyone has seen this picture, right? That's Wilt Chamberlain, 100-point game, grabbed a piece of paper in the locker room. I don't know if it was him or someone else. Iconic picture, right? So you got that. So now anytime a player puts up a good amount of points, we have to see some shit like this. Corny, right? Am I crazy? Is it not fucking corny? If you don't score 100, why are you doing that?
I hate it. I'm 100% with you, man.
There's only one person that could have done that, and that was Kobe when he got his. So, yeah, I don't. This reminds me of all those fucking pictures you're seeing of all these kids standing there watching the other team celebrate on the field with like the confetti.
Oh, Stephon Diggs did irreparable damage.
That's what I'm saying. And like, that's what it's kind of like, all right, we get it. Like, it's cool. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a little fucking corny. Like, it's cool. Like, good for them. I think that's super fucking impressive to score that amount of points in any level of fucking basketball. So to do it in the NBA is cool. But like, I don't know, man. There's unless there's 3 digits on that piece of paper, put that shit down.
That's what it is, man. It has to be 3 digits or else you're not honoring it properly.
Correct. Yeah.
Because so should I go out there the next time that I have a real nice night? Maybe I've been struggling forever. I dropped 34. Can I pull out a piece of paper and say, hey, man,
I bet
top scorer of the year?
Shit. I mean, you and your car after why?
Yeah.
Playing Sunday.
I get it. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to call back to one of the most famous pictures of all time. I get it. But it's just not in the same class. It's not. 30 points off is not. So we shouldn't be doing this. But I guess what else do you do, right? Do you have somebody
nothing? You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do shit.
You sign the ball, take it home.
Yeah, sign the ball, maybe picture with the game ball. It's funny, Matt, like you mentioned the Stephon Diggs and like how championship losers now just hang out on the field and cry and get that picture so they can hang, I don't know, motivation maybe. It reminds me of like when teams win the championship, they do the Kobe Bryant hugging the trophy, kissing it thing.
Yeah.
It's the same exact thing. It's like corny. It's like, be original. I don't know, man. Like, right? Maybe like Donovan Mitchell's fucking boats he's wearing on his feet there. Maybe he writes 71 on the tip of it and he holds that up or something. You got options, but no, we just do this every time. And I just think it's so cheesy, man. I can't stand it. And I love Devin Booker.
Look at how young Book looks.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, right? It's crazy.
Oh, Chris, you taking jabs at the Donovan Mitchells, man. Throwing shade at it, Adidas, man. Good, I love it.
They're good outdoor shoes. I'll say that. I got the what are they called? The threes. I forget what the technical. The Dawn Issue threes. I got those. Yeah. I didn't like playing on them indoor. They're a little slick. I think I'll stick to Nikes when it comes to hooping, but that's a pass the outlet kind of conversation, Mike. And we're gonna have to have one of those pretty soon here.
Yes, sir.
But guys, I think we got to wrap this up, but real quick, just got to know what you think about the Deandre Ayton story that broke this week. He did a sit-down interview with some reporter and on his Substack. And do you have the quote here? Basically, yeah, he said he's a max player and he has nothing to prove. And he followed that when that story came out and that news broke, he followed it up with a 5.7 rebound performance. Absolutely incredible. I mean, It's funny. I was hearing people talk today about like if you're Portland, what do you do with DeAndre Ayton? Because he is a max player. Do you try and trade him? Does anybody want him? And if not, do you look at just like straight up buying him out, doing what do they call it, a cut and stretch or a wave and stretch, where basically you do the Dodgers thing and defer his cut salary down many years down the line, and we could see DeAndre Ayton go the way of Greg Oden, and for a different reason, just because he's bad, be out of the league. But I mean, all I have to say about it really is thank God that dude isn't wearing a Suns uniform anymore. Because could you imagine if this exact story broke while he's still on the roster with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker? It would be bedlam.
It'd be a huge yikes, that's for sure. And I got some things to say about this, but I do want to ask Matt, do you think the biggest issue with DeAndre Ayton is that he really just can't get out of his own way? Because I think all the talent's there, right?
Dude, he has the talent. Like, he has those little, like, the Geno Smith flashes is what I always see. He has those flashes of where he's like this great. You're like, shit, dude. Like, DeAndre Ayton can play fucking. And then he has these days where he played like he's my size, and it drove me fucking nuts. But like that, just reading that, and I'm so goddamn happy he doesn't play for the Suns anymore, because he drove me absolutely insane with how he played. Yeah, I think this dude is literally his worst fucking enemy. He, like that headline says, but that's precisely the problem. Him not thinking that he isn't, like, he's not good. He's not terrible. Like, he's serviceable is what I would say. Like, I don't think I can't justify any team giving him max money. Like, I don't think he's done anything to prove that. But yeah, this dude is literally his worst enemy. And I think we could see him out of the league shortly, like, honestly, or see him playing at some diminished role, or who knows? I don't know as far as how those contracts work, because I know once you kind of hit that level, you're guaranteed a certain amount of money in the NBA. So I don't know, man. You look at his numbers, it's worse than when he was on the Suns, and he was pretty lackluster for us for the majority of his time. Like I said, there were flashes, but yeah, he needs to hire a life coach or somebody, or he needs to just have like a long fucking Bahama fucking intermission, and just talk to himself in the mirror and be like, yo, you have a problem. Like, that's like literally the first step, is admitting you have a problem.
A Bohemian intervention. He needs to
Yeah,
just have some people in his corner, sit him down. No, I'm like, I want to hear what you have to say, but I just think he would have a lot of fun dominating in China or Australia, because it doesn't seem like he's having fun in the NBA right now.
He can go team up with DeMarcus Cousins.
Dwight Howard.
So, guys, the biggest thing, right, when this trade was made, and I'm sure that a decent amount of Suns fans were still in the boat of wishing DeAndre Ayton success, because he was a vital piece to that 2021 NBA Finals run. We cannot forget about that, right? The way that he played against the Joker in that semifinal round, and, you know, did the best that he could against Giannis, but Giannis was on a warpath that season, right? But the way that we looked at what was happening with this Sun season this year to start, where we said, well, it's too early, we got to give it some time to start fleshing things out, was kind of the same way I was looking at DeAndre Ayton, because you're in a brand new system. You're in a brand new place. Everything has changed for him from what he's done for 5 years, right? You're changing where you practice. You're changing where you eat. You're changing where you sleep. It's a change to your psyche. So you have to give it some time. But that time has passed, right? The same way that we were talking about the Suns needed to kick things in gear and start figuring it out is what DeAndre Ayton should have been doing. Once again, we knew that Portland was going to be a really bad team, but it's not translating into any kind of wins. And he's getting worse. He's getting worse based off where he started, right? He's averaging 12.5 points and 10.3 rebounds off 53% field goal shooting for the season. Over his last 10 games, 7.7 points, 6.3 rebounds, 37% from the field. The guy is lost, and he keeps putting himself into the limelight when he doesn't have to. Like, most of the time, everybody's just like, oh, there's DeAndre Ayton over there. He's trying still, I guess. He's not the number one overall pick. We knew that. But then he comes out and he's like, yeah, that's why my nickname's Dominating. Or, yeah, I don't have anything to prove. I'm a max player. It's like, dude, do yourself a favor and just, like, at this point, you just got to go to work. Like, keep the sound bites to a minimum, because now you just are a clown. Like, he's losing respect from NBA fans all across the world who still were holding on a threshold of hope that he was going to be able to have a breath of fresh air after he was traded to Portland, because it was absolutely needed. From the reports that we've heard about, is Devin Booker was done with them, right? There was no repairing the relationship. It was time for him to go. So you would think at the end of the day, you're going to have a brand new place to go to be the face, what it seemed like he always wanted. And he doesn't know how to get out of his own way at the end of the day. It's just really, really sad to see. And I'm disappointed, to be honest with you. I'm disappointed that he still just isn't getting it.
No, 100%. And I'm one of those suckers who kind of bought into that, like, new environment, having him maybe be the centerpiece that he always wanted to be. I thought he was going to have a good season, be that 2010 guy that we always hoped he would be in Phoenix. And so I drafted him to my fantasy basketball team, and now I might have to cut him. We have an 8-man league. Rosters are pretty deep. I got to make some room. If Deandre Ayton's only going to get me 10 points a night, I got other centers on my bench who can put up way more. So I'm done with him. I don't give a shit about Deandre Ayton. Honestly, I don't even wish him well anymore. I just think, like you said, Mike, he's an absolute clown. I say Carl Anthony is a town. Carl Anthony Towns is a clown. But for totally different reasons. At least he can back it up and actually put points on the board and grab some boards, which is something DeAndre Ayton just can't do. But guys, this has been a lot of fun, man. Our Valley Sports Plug triangle here. We're going to have to do this again real soon. Before we get out of here, Mr. T, is there anything you want to get off your chest, sports related or otherwise?
Man, I might have to go pour one out for my boy Harbaugh in Michigan. It sucks. That's shitty, dude. It's like I said, like breaking up with the girlfriend and she's going to like date this successful guy, and you like see her on Facebook and she's like, fuck, man. Like, I'm happy for her.
After you go through the stages of grief, you're like, yeah,
dude, yeah,
I'm happy.
Shit, I still cry. Like, I'm gonna be so upset, but We'll see, man. We'll see what the Chargers do. I'm excited for the Chargers. I'm excited for Chargers fans because I think that that's been what they've been waiting for. I think they've been a head coach short. I think the talent's there. The head coach was a fucking joke. So let's go. I'm on Harbaugh train, man. I might buy a fucking Chargers jersey and replace the Manziel. So.
Hey, like Mike said earlier, is AFC team, so we don't gotta worry about it too much. I'll be curious to see what they do. But Mr. Benjamin, what do you got for us?
So looks like the Suns are down quite a bit right now. 16 points, about 7 minutes left in the second quarter. Still got some time. Obviously, they made some huge comebacks over this past 6-game streak. It's been real nice to see the big three actually play together, guys. Like, it's been nice. It really has been nice. Super excited for this weekend of football, man. I think these are two of the best matchups that we've seen in the last couple of years, to be honest with you, and some great storylines. Keep an eye out. We're going to be hitting everybody with a Suns recap, I believe, on Friday, and also stay tuned to Instagram on Saturday. We're going to be giving away Suns versus Lakers tickets. We'll go ahead and say it, man. So make sure everybody, you keep an eye out for that. But Chris, Matt, always a pleasure.
The big announcement, Mike. I love it. Gonna be some intrigue to get those tickets. Might be the last time you get to see LeBron James. Who knows? Maybe not. Hard to say. But tell your friends. Tell everyone about it. I think that it's a very exciting time in sports this time of year when you have the NFL season winding down, leading up to the Super Bowl. Here in town, we're going to have the Phoenix Waste Management Open coming through. That's always a party and a fun time, right there to coincide with Super Bowl weekend. The NBA season is right in the thick of it, where every team is trying to jockey for position, make a playoff push. The trade deadline's coming up the beginning of February. And right around that same time of the NBA trade deadline, I think Valentine's Day is when a lot of teams are going to have pitchers and catchers reporting for the MLB spring training getting underway. Of course, if you've lived here for any amount of time, you know Arizona is the place to be for spring training action. You can catch a lot of good baseball games, see a lot of prospects, catch some autographs. So hopefully I can make it out there and we can get some content for you. I say that a lot, but hopefully I mean it this time. But guys, been a lot of fun. If you're listening back and you've made it this far through the podcast, thank you so much for listening and being here. Thank you to MrT Jr. for joining us and being a great guest. I think we might dub him a regular. I think he might be a regular.
He's on the list, baby. Let's go.
On the list. Hey, Mr. Benjamin, always a pleasure as well. I'm, of course, Chris Patrick, and we'll see you next time. Peace.